Well, I could not help myself. I mean, it's December 4th, Friday, December 4th, and it's just a beautiful, crisp, sunny morning. So, gotta take a walk. We don't get a lot of beautiful, crisp, sunny December mornings in the Pacific Northwest. So, in the winter. So I'm gonna walk a bit on the path here down towards the river in my neighborhood. The Advent meditation this morning, maybe you watched the video that I sent. The Advent video meditation this morning was on Psalm 122, verse 1. And I can't help it. I just keep thinking about that, just taking that verse 1, let us go to the house of the Lord. And thinking about what that means for us now, it's so celebratory. And what it might have meant before the COVID pandemic, and now what it means in this current context. I mean, gosh, we would never have dreamed. It's a little wren. We would have never have dreamed that we'd still be away from our sanctuary, that we would be 9 months into this and not really sure when we get when this all began, I thought, oh gosh, surely we'll be back for Easter. And then Easter passed, and then I thought, well, surely we'll be back, by the end of summer, and the end of summer passed. Oh, we'll be back by Christmas. We can be back by Christmas, but here we are, finishing up our first week of Advent, and we're not going to be back in the sanctuary for Christmas. So what does it mean to think about and to celebrate, really, with hope, joy, that beautiful first line of Psalm 122 in this season, that let us go to the house of the Lord, when we know we can't go to the house of the Lord in a traditional sense. Just like the Israelites, really, the Israelites many, many times were prevented from going to the house of the Lord, right, to the temple to worship, because they were conquered and exiled by Persia, by the Babylonians, by Rome, so many times. In fact, the gut punch to them is when they were exiled, where they were taken over and the temple was actually destroyed. So they had to learn something about God, something new. And I think, as hard as this has been, this pandemic, as difficult and painful as it has been to be away from each other, to not be able to be in our sanctuary, to not be able to come together in traditional ways, we've been able to learn something that we probably couldn't have learned as quickly, or maybe ever, because we wouldn't maybe trust or believe it possible. We wouldn't be able to believe that it were possible, had it not been for the pandemic, that we can go to the house of the Lord where we are. I mean, look at this. I feel like I am in the house of the Lord this morning. It's serene, it's beautiful, it's bursting with life. It's filled with sorrow and signs of aging and death as well, because that is life, isn't it? Part of living, part of being alive is to experience loss too. So here I am, I'm in the house of the Lord with you. With you because of this technology, the gift of technology that we have. So we can share these things together. So it might not be our traditional ideas of what it means to go to the house of the Lord. And you know, I'm going to be celebrating as happy as everyone when we can all come together again in the sanctuary. It'll be glorious. But you know what else? This is pretty glorious too. This is pretty amazing too. I'm grateful for this opportunity to learn and to grow. I'm grateful to be challenged, to be stretched. I keep saying, you know, gosh, they didn't, well, not just me, we all clergy, we get together in our support groups and we say, oh my gosh, nobody trained us in seminary for this. But that's okay, because we were called to something. And so, yeah, the training is helpful, but this is an opportunity to be stretched and to have our eyes open and to see beyond what we think we already know, what we think and how we believe things should be. I mean, that's really the Christmas message, right? The coming of the Christ child is really, truly allowing yourself to be open and to see beyond what you think you already know, what you think should be. Our sisters and brothers, our siblings at United Church of Christ, they have this saying where they say, never place a period where God has placed a comma, which I love. I love that. Don't place a period. And so often we do that, right? We get it into our heads that we think things should be a certain way. We think we're in control. We think we get to say, this is how it should be. This is what church looks like. This is what it means to be in the house of the Lord. This is what it means to serve God. This is what it means to live in God's way. And so often, God just breaks that apart and open and expands and blows our minds. And here it is, one of those times. We are in the house of the Lord. Here we are. We are in the house of the Lord, and we are in it together. Nothing gives me greater hope or joy. On this Friday of the first week of Advent, let your minds be blown. Celebrate that God is so much bigger than our imaginations. Let us go to the house of the Lord.